the new science and soul behind player engagement.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored here to be here in Sigma Asia today, and especially to speak alongside regulators, innovators, and industry peers who are shaping the future of gaming. Today, I'll be talking about the new science and soul behind player engagement. Let me begin with the number 300. Now imagine that number, that 300. 300 feet is how much content an average person scrolls through daily. So in the height, it is also the height of the Statue of Liberty, and yet most of it vanish from memory within seconds. As you sleep, you browse as you sleep. Over time, it's right now we're in an economy which the attention span is very short. But attention isn't just scarce, it's fragile and fleeting. So the question we ask ourselves, especially at DG Plus, is not how we are advertised better. It's how we matter most. How does our marketing, our social media platforms matter most to our players? So the question we ask ourselves is that DG Plus is not how do we advertise better? It's how do we matter more? We are all chased by metrics. I'm sure all the companies are run by KPIs, metrics, number of installs, number of clicks, of course, the gross gaming revenue. But those are not the only reason players stay. The new battleground in gaming is not reach, but relevance, how to make them stay in your app or in the online platform. Not volume, but by value. Not just metrics, but emotional impressions. So because players today are looking for something rare, not just distraction, but delight. Not just payoffs, but presence. Over time, we learn that engagement is not something you capture. It's really something you earn. It's something you gain from your customers' loyalty, from the customer experience. It's a cycle. Live stream create a real time of excitement. Key opinion leaders will generate FOMO, the fear of missing out. And then, of course, the online, the offline activation, the ground activation, like the mall events, or even our bingo games in our local communities, pull players back into the fold, making them feel it, making them experience. This creates what we call experience flywheel. One moment feeds into the next. Anticipation becomes a routine, and the routine becomes loyalty. This is where the real opportunity lies. It's being part of the player rhythm. You're now part of the player day-to-day life. Okay. So here's a mental model we use. Marketing should feel like a gameplay, not advertising. It's not hard sell. It's something we want to come from within. When we build campaigns that feel like mission, promos that feel like side quest, daily streaks that trigger reward, not fatigue. Something that a player will look forward to. We stop interrupting the player journey and really start enhancing it. A few months ago, we ran a live stream bingo mega, and a player from Iloilo. This is a real life story from one of our players playing the bingo mega. Iloilo is a city in Visayas, and that player commented, "It's my birthday today." Our host saw it and then gave a live shout out. If you played our app, there's a screen that you can chat with our host so that you can feel it really live. So what happened next? Of course, the other players greeted that player. So hundreds of reactions, dozens of people greeted her. And she didn't even win that night. But she told us it was the best part of her day and probably best part of her life. When you get recognized on an online stream with more than 20,000 or even 50,000 players playing, suddenly you become an overnight star. Yeah. So and at that point, it's not always about price. It's about being seen. It's about being felt. It's about being recognized. From thank you messages to shout outs to personalized nudges, these micro moments create emotional deposits. They say, we see you and you matter. We often think that impact needs to be huge, needs to be a large prize, needs to be a large jackpot. But the best loyalty builders are often tiny. A more personalized nudge, a more personalized hi, hellos, people, our customer service or our people on the ground knows the names of the players, knows their birthdays, knows their favorites, likes and dislikes, the favorite coffee they drink, the favorite drink, the favorite food they eat during the day. So these are the best loyalty builders that are often tiny. These aren't transactions, these are emotional triggers. They signal care. Players do not only remember the payout, they remember the feeling, the way of getting there. So what we want is, even if the player loses, he feels happy about the experience itself. Being called out in our app, being called out by our host, by their names or by their nicknames, saying happy birthday to them is what we are selling in the app. At DigiPlus, we found that repeat engagement correlates strongly with emotional micro moments, even more than rewards. So one of our most powerful insights is this. Games designed for Filipinos, not just translated for Filipinos, really appeal better. It's not about localization, it's about cultural design. It's really adapting the game within that culture itself. We infuse games with carnival nostalgia, fiesta humor, even karaoke references when our hosts are in live streaming. Because of the game feels like a conversion within our own culture, it hits differently. It feels familiar. And familiarity builds trust. Even our brands like Bingo Plus, Arena Plus, and our latest edition, Game Zone, are very simple by name itself, very simple, very relatable, aspirational, friendly, and definitely Filipino. We often call the games global, but many of them are really just Western. Color patterns, humors, reward system, and even music are mostly generic. What we call universal design often falls to feel personal. You need to make it really feel personal to the player. That's why at DigiPlus we treat culture as a mechanic, not just a flavor. Our players don't live just in one space. So neither should we. It's an ever-evolving space, and we should always connect to the players. One, through mobile app where gameplay happens. Of course, the TikTok, the social media, Facebook, where the trend starts. The live stream where community builds. And yes, our own local fiestas where trust really lives. They see you physically, they see you that you're a real game. When you combine digital reach with cultural roots, you create a brand that does not just advertise. It belongs. It has its own community. It's just about being present in different channels and about being really felt by your customers, by the community. A presence that adopts visually, emotionally, and based on where we are now, how the players is engaging. What we're building is what we call omnifill, a system where digital, physical, and emotional touch points all reinforce the same story. So now let's talk about our responsibility to our players. Yeah. At DigiPlus, we just don't believe in responsible gaming that interrupts experiences. It should be within the experience of the player. That's why our platform include self-set limits on a daily play, cooldown timers where win and loss, that after a win or loss streak, you can have this turn on or turn off. Of course, positive reinforcement for healthy habits. So responsible gaming should not feel like a restriction. It should feel like we care for our players. We don't just personalize to push offers. We personalize to promote balance. Personalization is not just about sending the right message. It's about sensing what not to send. Knowing when someone's been playing too long, or when you lost about 10 straight rounds, when they may need encouragement or space, a breather. That's where science of becoming something deeper. That's where personalization becomes an empathy. We don't pretend to have it all, of course, figured out, but we are trying. We are promoting the responsible gaming down to the level that we are offering financial literacy to the winners, or at least the large winners that we have already awarded. In fact, we learned most of these things due to hard work, and most of this, it's a trial and error. Campaigns that landed flat in some regions, formats that did not resonate with older or younger players, moments where we need to push hard too fast. But we listen, we adjust, and we really adapt. Because to lead in this space, we have to keep learning. From data to actual feedback of the players, to the behaviors, and the overall culture. Especially as we expand to new markets like Brazil, our success will really depend not on exporting our model from Philippines to Brazil, but on reimagining the model every time, everywhere we go. If there's one thing we've realized is this: players don't remember the biggest jackpots, they remember how we made them feel. And at this age, where attention is rare and trust is earned, that feeling of being part of something, of being seen, is really everything for the player. That's what we're designing for, and that's what we're leaning towards. That's what we hope to keep building with heart, with humility, and with our players at the core of the business. This is where I will leave you now. This is not just a game, but a story, a conversation, a small moment in someone's day that could have been more. So the conversation with our players means a lot more than the value of winning itself. So not every player becomes a fan, but every player feels something for you, for the company, and for the app itself. And it's up to us, the game makers, the innovators, and the marketers, to make that feel really count. Again, good afternoon.
Wow. Jasper, thank you so much for what a passionate final keynote.